Swipe Computers, Episode 9, Custom Configurations. Introduction. Welcome everyone to this episode of Swipe Computers. Over the past episodes, we've been looking at various components of a computer. This episode, we will be looking at various custom configurations, what the common ones are, and what parts are suggested for each one. What is a custom configuration? A custom configuration is a set of guidelines that are so popular they're almost standards a computer technician will use when building a new computer for a client so that it matches the client's needs. There are standard thick clients, graphic and CAD, CAM design workstations, audio-video editing workstations, virtualization workstations, gaming computers, home theater computers, thin clients, and home server computers. Now I will drill down and explain each one. Standard thick clients. A standard thick client is your standard run-of-the-mill computer. It is not specialized in any manner, and thus is suitable for multiple functionality. Most computers these days are these, and they form the basis for the other custom configurations. They must meet the minimum requirements of the operating system the user wants to run on them. They also can connect to networks and be configured from a server is implied, but this must be verified. Graphic and CAD CAM design workstations. Some people primarily use a computer to design graphical content or design homes and commercial buildings. They will have three main areas that need to be enhanced, and they are the CPU, graphics, and RAM. For these workstations, a multi-core processor is recommended, and one with lots of cache will also be useful. A solid modern graphics card and maximizing the system's RAM are also recommended for these workstations because of the amount of graphics the computer will have to process, especially with the colors and detailed shapes these users employ in their work. Audio-video editing workstations. Computers designed for those who work with multimedia material need to be able to store lots of data and produce excellent audio and visuals so that the user can do their work well. They are recommended to be built with specialized hard drives, solid graphics cards, and specialized audio, like an add-on card. Maximized RAM is secondary to these three functions. It is recommended that the graphics card have multiple interfaces that can be used at the same time, that the user be given a dual monitor setup. The graphics card should also support CUDA and OpenGL. Multiple hard drives are encouraged to store the data separately from the operating system for faster performance as well. Virtualization workstations. Software development and cloud computing are two industries that use hardware virtualization. Without going into the details, which I'll cover in a future episode, the technology allows multiple guest OSs, which is short for operating systems, to run on a computer at the same time. Each operating system, or OS, appears to have its own resources, but in reality, they are sharing them. These workstations will benefit mostly from a CPU with multiple cores. With the more cores, the better. They also need maximized RAM that the motherboard can support, so a motherboard that can support lots of RAM would be ideal for a fresh build. Gaming PCs. This section of the video should interest all of the computer gamers out there, because I'm going to discuss what makes a solid computer for gaming. As computer parts get better, the games are released to take advantage of the new hardware, which causes this segment of the computer market to grow at a constant pace. A solid gaming PC will have four key areas that should be top-notch: the CPU, the graphics, audio, and cooling. A solid gaming PC, a solid gamer will generally want a fast multi-core processor today because most modern games are designed to support them. If you can get a dual video card setup and dual monitors, that will cover graphics and I'd recommend going for a discrete sound card to enjoy the full audio experience. If you want it to be quiet, a liquid cooling setup will keep your computer cool, yet not make a ton of noise. Home theater PCs. In today's multimedia world, home theater PC is ideal as you can combine multiple components into one box. The most common thing these computers have is a specialized chassis which can fit into a smaller area than normal computers. Some even use the smaller form factor motherboards as they cannot fit the full-size ones. These HTPC cases, as they are known, can even look like a standard part of your audio-visual equipment and not like a computer case at all. They also contain a TV tuner to allow the computer to tune into television signals and record them for later viewing. They also generally have a discrete graphics card and sound, as well as for the viewer's visual and audio pleasure. Some computers in this segment come bare bones, which means you just need to add RAM, a storage drive, and a TV tuner. Thin clients. A thin client gives up most of its storage and processing capacity in favor of using a server's resources. They can even resemble dumb terminals from the early ages of computing, when all processing and storage had to be done via servers. They generally only have enough processing power to locate the server via network connection before handing over processing control. They're generally used by enterprises that want to save money on infrastructure, though it does leave the servers that do all the work and storage as points of failure. A good example of this type of computer is the Google Cloudbook Netbook laptop, which uses the Google Cloud as its processing and storage instead of being on the laptop. Home server PCs. The final configuration is the home server PC. These are generally not using server software, but are computers dedicated to supplying services to a home network. Some of the capabilities they can do are media streaming, file sharing, and print sharing. Generally for these computers, they can benefit most from a gigabit network interface card that is wired and not wireless, and a RAID array, preferably one that is hardware and not software. The RAID array is useful to keep the data from being lost in case one of the drives fails. The main difference between a home server PC and an enterprise server in an office is that everyone on the home network usually has full access to all the files and printers being shared. Whereas on an enterprise server, not everyone has access to all the files. There's usually access control implemented. Conclusion. In this episode, we looked at custom configurations for computers. From what is known as the standard thick client to thin clients and home servers, we examined briefly the 7 different custom configurations and what each one is recommended to have in regards to hardware. Thank you for your support, and if you'd love to see more videos from me, please consider supporting me on Patreon. There'll be a link in the description. I will see you next time.